stuck? 2, 5. Actually, 4. 4 made it. And then the other ones didn't, for a variety of reasons. But the younger generation was really energized by it. They made sure that none of these were going to cost too much. And it really wasn't the money, it was the resources, because to get into that many, it's pretty difficult. However, all these were tangential to their core business. So they were able to diversify relatively quickly and survive the next downturn much better. All right, so we have 2 more scenarios. One funding innovation, one's measuring innovation. Any questions before I dive into this one? Or thoughts, perspectives? Okay, then let's dive into scenario number 6, funding innovation. The Fryer family has had a nice 30-plus year run of profitable newspaper publishing. Too bad Daniel's not here, is it? Oh yeah, there you are. You took your coat off. So maybe you can relate to this. With the sea change shift underway with the internet and other digital channels, they know that they must change, and change rather quickly. The challenge is that for years they have provided 2 generations of regular, fixed distribution checks that made up about 25% of the firm's annual profits. The rest of the profits would be mainly used to reinvest in new equipment, new programs, facilities, and acquisitions. The fixed distributions now account for over half the profit, because again, they're fixed and the profit went down, so the percent went up. The company needs to invest in more technology, young people who understand the digital world, and consolidate facilities. Where can the money come from to fund these investments? Conversation, yeah. Again, take a couple minutes and see what you guys think, and I'll let you know what they did. Where's the money going to come from, guys?
The question is, they were investing 75% of their annual profits back into the business, equity business?
Yeah. You think that's high?
Well, that's a question I was going to ask you. In your experience, what's the norm?
Okay, David's asking a really good question of profits generated, let's call it pre-tax profit. What do family firms use those for? The majority, if you're first generation, all, if any, profits, usually when you get a startup, plow back in. For second, third, fourth generation, we find about 50 to 80% of the profit gets plowed back into the business. I've got one, fourth generation, where still 100% goes back in. It's crazy, but that's too much. But 50 to 80 is the norm of how much gets plowed in. So take another bubble is how much the profit goes to employee bonus incentives and that ranges from 10 to 20 usually. A few in the 25% that go to bonus. I think that's when it gets out of whack though. But 15% is the norm that goes to bonus. And then distributions, I'd say it's a pretty wide range, but it's like 2% to about 10, 12%. Some are higher, some are less. We got some, particularly first, second generation, it's 0, or just if it's an S corp, enough to cover tax. But you know, a lot of families, they don't take a whole lot out. Now, if you're in certain businesses where it's tax efficient and for liability reasons or bonding reasons for construction companies, they may take more out. But typically, it's in the 2 to 12% taken out. So with that as background, where are they going to get the money for this innovation? Where do you think they're going to get it?
We came up with all the problems.
Okay. What's the solution?
You have real estate to sell, nobody wants to buy. You have equipment that's old, nobody wants to buy it. So, you know, government grants may be available. You know, liquidate whatever you can, maybe consolidating and get whatever you can for what you're selling. But in this market, especially in this environment, it's hard to get anything for old equipment and buildings.
That's right.
We also said possibility of shareholders reinvesting back into the company.
Okay. Reinvest. What about you guys? Anything? Where do you think they're going to get the money?
I mean, we just talked about seeing a consultant or something about some kind of outside funding, but maybe it's going to have to come back from the family. They're going to have to put it back in.
You're going to have to change their policy.
Distribution policy?
Distribution policy.
Okay.
Charge a percentage of profits rather than a fixed number.
There you go.
And look at how they
Yeah.
can focus the rest of the profits on those priorities.
Yep. Yep. Rather than a family first decision, it's got to be business first. Anything different over here? Same thing?
I think maybe shift away from the buying new equipment, facilities, and more
But the thing is, where how are they gonna get the money? You know, this is funding innovation. Where can the money come from to fund these? Not what are they gonna do, but how are they gonna fund it?
I would say they'll spend less.
Okay, so that's how they're gonna get the money. You're gonna spend less
Less
on
in some areas.
ongoing capital. Okay, I'm with you. Yeah, okay, so shift it over. Anything,
I think
you could be the good one.
you're typically in the family going to have people who need the money now,
Yeah.
need the distribution
Yes.
money, and the members who don't. And perhaps the members who need it get some kind of preferred shares with a fixed dividend. Others who don't can get equity shares with some sort of right to buy out
Mhm.
the ones who are getting the fixed preferred share income.
Okay,
So you have sort of the short-term players and the longer-term players.
yeah, good, creative. Anything here?
Well, all we kind of considered is maybe acquiring a new innovative company, an acquisition or a merger to kind of help the situation along in terms of if they have some funding to do that.
How are they gonna get the funding to acquire?
Well, if it's a merger, it's kind of combining, just another company into
So merger,
kind of like a
Okay.
merger.
okay. It may be hard without money. You guys come up with anything. How do we get this money?
A lot of the same stuff. Sell facilities if you find something.
Yeah.
If they're in the printing business, they could print it.
It's like the Crane Company. Have you ever heard of the Crane Company? That's one of the oldest companies, and they make really fine stationery. Well, their largest business is printing money. It's printing the paper that the governments print on money. Nice family business. Well, this is a really tough one. You guys hit on it. They have to change, and they did change. And it was very painful from the fixed distributions to the variable. They didn't go with the more creative approach of another